All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for making it. This is the Colorado Public Utilities Commission Incarcerated People's Communication Services Advisory Task Force. This meeting occurs quarterly, and obviously today is the 12th of August, 2025. It is 9:04 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're meeting virtually here on Zoom, and we'll get started here by saying welcome. We have a few things to get you caught up on what's been going on in the world of incarcerated communications. Let's start out by doing some introductions. I'll start with myself here. My name is Royal Cameron, and I work in the Incarcerated People's Communication Services program. Along with Clarence Wallace and with Daryl Brigidson as the telecom and telecommunications team lead. He'll be joining us as well. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Clarence.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Like Royal said, I'm a part of the IPCS program team, and look forward to hearing whatever you may have to share with us today, and look forward for your input as to how we can make this better going forward.
Thank you, Clarence. We can move to Daryl Branson.
Nope, I just wanted to say hi and glad to be here.
Thank you, Daryl. Dee Quilling, if you'd like to introduce yourself, feel free. If not, don't feel pressured to. A couple seconds. Okay.
Lieutenant County Sheriff.
I apologize. I think I may have spoken over you there.
Lieutenant Quilling, Summit County Sheriff's Office.
Excellent. Thank you so much for making it. Debbie Condi.
Hi, I'm Debbie Condi with Securus Regulatory Department.
Thanks, Debbie. Mr. Lozich.
Hi, this is Michael Lozich. I'm with the Securus Technologies Regulatory Department as well.
Thanks so much, Michael. Bree Buentello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bree Buenteo. I'm the Associate Executive Director of Stand for Children. We are an advocacy nonprofit.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bree. Kamisha Davis.
Hi, I'm Kamisha. I'm with Securus Technologies Regulatory Department.
Awesome. Thanks, Kamisha. Amy Bradley.
Hi, I'm Amy Bradley, and I'm with the Colorado Department of Corrections. I am the inmate phone system supervisor for the department.
Thank you so much, Amy. Sergeant Wells.
Yeah, Sergeant William Wells with the Delta County Sheriff's Office.
Excellent. Thank you. Linda R. Ooh. Linda, it looks like you came off mute. If you'd like to introduce yourself, that's fine. If not, I'll get going. I'm going to take that as my hint. Angela Collins, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. Angela Collins with the law firm of Cahill, Gordon, and Reindell here on behalf of Viapath Technologies.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. Anybody else, if there's anybody left here that I may have missed? Alrighty. Well, I just want to make sure, can everybody see the screen that I'm sharing that has the actual agenda up there?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So as far as old business goes, nothing really too much to report on. So we'll just hop right to the good stuff. Legislatively, we've had a couple of updates. House Bill 1049, which is concerning the communication rights for persons in custody, was signed. The act was signed May 31st, 2025. Senate Bill 155, concerning the creation of an advisory council for persons who are incarcerated, was signed into act May 20th of 2025. And on that, if anybody is familiar with, I'll just pop this up really quick. With Senator Gonzalez, Senator Ball, or Chad Clifford, we have been trying to make connection with them and get a line of open communication unfortunately, we haven't been able to bridge that gap. So if anybody knows them or has any good leads on that, please let us know. Moving on, Senate Bill 208, concerning the amount that the Department of Corrections covers for penal communication services and a connection therewithin, making an appropriation, was signed into Act April 25th, 2025. Now, this one did have a couple of things that were noteworthy that may be a bit impactful directly to this program. Initially, prior to this bill being signed, it was scheduled for July 1st, 2025 to be at a 100% free rate for incarcerated individuals within the Department of Corrections. And that has been pushed back. And essentially, this just staggers things for another year. And instead of it being 100% this year on July 1st, it went to 75%. And it should go to 100% in the following July of 2026. Next, we have the IPCS posters, which these will be making their ways to any facilities within the state that we can get these up in. And if anybody wants them or would like them disseminated to other locations, we're happy to send those out. I did want to throw these up on the screen for just a minute, and I'll give about 2 minutes here and see if anybody has any further suggestions. These to us have been okayed, and these are the versions that have been kind of selected with what is seen as the best colored fonts, the best colored backgrounds, the best text that's most appropriate. There's a couple of boxes we do have to check, so it's not as bright and colorful as we initially hoped. However, we think it's very clear, and we think it's going to successfully help bring folks our way who are in need of any type of assistance. So I'll leave this up, kind of try and get everything in there I possibly can for just 2 more minutes here and see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to shout out if you got anything.
Hi, Royal. It's Angela Collins. Will we be able to get electronic copies of these documents to share within our
We
organization?
certainly can. Yeah, if that's easy, we could probably make these into a PDF and get them sent out to everybody on the invite list. I think that's a great idea.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. That's a good idea.
And do you have a sense of are these going to be like paper size or large posters?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be pretty much just a sheet of paper, like a 11 by 8, I think is the correct size formatting. However, they can be fit and resized. I believe we can create this into like a vector so that it can be made into whatever size appropriate. Yeah. So
And how do you plan to disseminate them to the facilities? Will you be giving them hard copies of the pieces of paper?
Yes, it'll be kind of on a case-by-case basis as we go through and just see what makes the most sense. Some of these facilities don't necessarily have I'll say all facilities are different. They don't all necessarily have the appropriate tools necessary to get things printed and perhaps displayed, but we're kind of working in part. There is no statutory, it's not mandated in any way, so it's kind of just on a cooperation basis at this point.
And you'll reach out to the facilities to see if they want them, or the facility needs to come to you?
We'll be reaching out to the facilities. They are certainly welcome to reach out to us. And if any of the providers on call, aside from who you might work with, you are also welcome to send these out as well. We're happy to get this to whoever might need them.
Roy, let me chime in real quick. So, because we hadn't really talked about the dissemination part of this yet. I think this will be mostly disseminated electronically. We'll provide PDF copies to all of the facilities, and we'll also put them up on our website so that anyone else who wants them will be able to access them. If a facility does want them in hard copy format, if they don't want to print them themselves, or the PDF just won't work for them for some reason, we can talk to them about that and potentially get them some hard copies.
Thanks, Joe. All right, move along. Oh, I suppose if anybody was interested, we also have this in Spanish as well. So these will both go out in tandem together. All right, moving along here. As far as program updates, on complaints, since our last task force meeting, there have been 19 total complaints submitted informally to the PUC. Of those 19, 16s were applicable to the program, meaning that there was a valid provider or that it was in the correct state. Sometimes there's about 3 of them. Some of them just may fall off or may not be within our purview. Of the total 16, 13 were in relationship to Securus. However, Securus does have kind of a bigger hold on the biggest population. So that would kind of make sense that they might have some more complaints as compared to smaller providers. Of the types of complaints that were out there, they were generally just voice and video service complaints, pretty much split right down the middle. And trending wise, it's pretty consistent. Not too much to change, not too much else to really report on there. The quarterly reports for Q2 will be published on the 14th, so in 2 days. Those will be making their way on the website and eventually onto the repository. Excuse me, almost forgot the word there. And lastly, the annual report since our last meeting has been published, both on the website, in the repository, and additionally sent to legislature. The last kind of new business we have here is website updates. The PUC is kind of doing an overhaul on the way things are routed through the site themselves and kind of where things are located. So things might look slightly different. If anything changes that is immediately going to make an impact on anyone's day-to-day or visibility, we will be sure to reach out. If there's any kind of change to the actual website address, we'll reach out. I don't foresee that necessarily happening, but we will keep you posted if there is anything major. Now, we do want to turn this over to everyone out here, and I'm not sure the best way to take questions aside from just kind of throwing it out, so I apologize. Might be a little messy at first, but we want to hear from you. If you have any concerns, any questions, if you need any help specifically, please let us know and feel free to go ahead and hop in. Just a few moments here. Well, it sounds pretty quiet out there. Well, I'm hoping no news is good news, or no questions is a good thing. If anything comes up, or if you feel too shy to ask this in front of everyone, feel free to email us. That's totally fine.
Hey, Royal.
Sure.
This is Michael Lozich. Just a real quick question. You mentioned the annual report has been published and sent to the legislature. Any particular issue stand out for your team in the last year that was reflected in the report?
I wouldn't say there were necessarily any specific issues. The results of all the quarterly reports were combined. The types of complaints, kind of what we just went through with the complaints, was kind of listed on there as well. If there's any major standing out complaints, any long ones, those were also listed on there, but nothing in particular that would stand out amongst everything. Okay. I think at this time, our biggest concern is trying to get to that 100% benchmark, and once that occurs, trying to figure out exactly how to make sure that's being enforced properly. But it seems like you being with Securus, and I know Amy's on the call from the DOC, but it seems like you guys are in a very good working relationship with making all that occur. So we'll be there and just kind of checking in as it goes.
All right.
Anybody else?
Hey, Royal, if I can provide some information too. So the bill that extended the timeline for 100% paid for communication at CDOC, if you're following the news, and I hope you are, you probably know that one of the forces behind that was the state's budget shortfall that the legislature was dealing with this year. And you probably also know that the governor has called for a special session to try to find more budget cuts because of impact to the state from HR 1 from Congress that shifted a bunch of costs from the federal government to the states, causing a budget shortfall for the state of Colorado. And they will probably continue to be looking for budget cuts in the 2026 legislative session. We have not heard anything yet about any more adjustment to this time frame to basically take some of the pressure off of the state's budget, but that's possible. So we'll be watching for that and anything else that might impact the IPCS community, either the providers or the advocacy groups or the families, and we will let this task force know if we hear of anything that is coming up as soon as we're allowed to let people know. Sometimes we get copies of bills early for review and fiscal analysis. We're not allowed to say anything until after they've been introduced, but as soon as we're allowed to let people know, we will share that information with this group.
Thank you, Daryl. All right, everyone. I suspect we'll be getting out with you shortly a similar type of questionnaire on the timing in November of what works for everyone to re-adjourn, or excuse me, to re-meet. I think we'll probably also be asking your thoughts on the effectiveness of the program in some manner. We want to make sure that this task force is meeting all the expectations of everyone involved and ask for any kind of recommendations if there's anything else you'd like to see. Other than that, any questions, any concerns before we adjourn this meeting? All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate everyone's attendance. We look forward to communicating with you in the future, and we'll talk to everyone soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.